Welcome to Senior Strategies. I am your host, Amy Decker, Director of Client Services for Senior Helpers. We are so glad that you were able to join us today for lively conversations with guests that can offer you the tools, strategies, and support so that you can successfully stay on your journey as a caregiver. We hope that you enjoy yourself and find just what you needed to get you through today. Hi, welcome to our show. My name is Amy Decker. I am the Director of Client Services for Senior Helpers. I am a certified dementia practitioner and the host of your show, Senior Strategies. Today, I have a special guest. She's a dear friend of mine, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Dannie Josma. She is the Director of Sales and Marketing at the Carlisle of the Palm Beaches, which is a gorgeous resort. It's like walking into a cruise ship. But regardless of the building, you can have a beautiful building and not have what you need like they have at the Carlisle, because their staff and the people that are in the building is what makes that building so special. And Dannie definitely is one of them. And she goes above and beyond making her residents feel special, or even new move-ins, the different things that they do that other buildings don't do. So welcome, Dannie.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
You're great. I've always thought you were great. And I just know that
Thank you.
your heart is in what you do. And we've said this before, you can't teach people compassion and empathy because it's got to be part of your DNA. And it really is a part of your DNA. And I think your job is challenging. So tell us, first of all, a little bit about who you are and how you got where you are.
Oh my goodness. So, I always say, and I let people know that I've been doing this for about 18 years now, going on 19, and no one believes me. They say, oh my gosh, you don't look young enough. But
you look 18.
I started, thank you. Not 18, but I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
I did not pick senior living. Senior living actually chose me. My career path was going to be in healthcare no matter what. That was always my love. But it's something that I just kind of fell into, and, other leaders saw that passion in me, and they kind of put me in roles where I was forced to grow really quickly. And I learned so much, and I thought, oh my gosh, I really do love this. I had no idea senior living existed. And so when I started off in the industry, I was working as a frontline staff member. And I went through a series of different promotions until I landed in sales, something I thought I couldn't do. And I have been doing sales for the last, oh my gosh, 15, 16 years now. And
you're good at it because you started out as a frontline. You started out at the very beginning to figure out what that building's all about, what goes on in there, and all the things that go on behind the scenes. That's what you did. That was perfect.
I think that's a reason of, one of the things that makes me a little bit different than others and a bit successful is because I know a little bit about every single department. So when I speak with families, I'm able to speak on so many things and see from a completely different perspective. I'm not a salesperson, and I don't want to ever come off that way, because what we sell is a very compassionate personal product.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And it involves not only it involves the whole family and all their friends and neighbors and everybody they met, because, this is a big decision. Yeah. They live in a home, or they've lived up in New York with their family, or they're snowbirds and have now decided to sell their condo down here. And now they have to move into a building because they need extra care. So there has to be some pretty tender, intimate, private conversations that you have to have with them and their family members, because it really affects their entire family.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. 100%.
And so how do you decide? So they come into your building. Give us a scenario. Somebody comes into your building, and what do you do to sit down with the family and decide just exactly where they should be placed?
Well, everyone has a different journey. I don't think anyone wakes up and they tell themselves, oh my gosh, we're going to go shopping for senior living.
Right.
No, it's not the case. Something had to happen for that adult child to wake up and say, oh my gosh, we have to start looking at independent living. Or the spouse may say, okay, I can't take care of my spouse anymore. I need to look at memory care options. So my whole thought process is I have to figure out what happened. What was your journey? What brought you in today? So one of the things that we're coached and trained to talk a lot about, and to start off, is what prompted your visit today? Because that is where we kind of get to the bulk of kind of what's going on. What was it? What was the crisis moment? What was the 911? That made you say, we need to start doing this today? So that's how I start every single visit, to learn more about the actual resident, the prospect, and to learn more about the story, because then the more I learn about them, the more I can kind of help them and direct them to where they need to go, because they're coming to me for a reason, and for education and research. And I'm here to give them that information. But I can only do that if I learn more about who they are and why they're coming to start the process in the first place.
Right. And it is such an emotional decision, because I have to say too, even with senior helpers, when we bring a caregiver into their home, I can't tell you if it's ever happened that we walk into the home with the caregiver and they go, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. I need you.
Right.
I need help with everything in the house. And here's what they look at us like, get out. I don't need you. I'm independent. I don't need this." And the same would go for
Yes.
you. They're looking at their kids going,
Yes.
I'm fine.
Yes.
I'm fine. I don't need to. So you have to be able to present this. And it's hard not to, because the Carlisle is absolutely beautiful, but you have to present it in a way that this is not only, you're going to see the value of coming here, but now your family can sleep easy at night that live up in New Jersey or New York or Connecticut, knowing you're in good hands down here. They don't have to worry about you all the time.
Yeah, and it's tough, because when I go through the discovery process with families, part of the things that we want to tackle is not only about what's going on with mom or dad, but what's going on with that actually adult child that made them take time out of their day or fly down to South Florida to start looking, because something has been interrupted in their schedule. So, the adult children oftentimes will say, Mom, I need you in a community right now because it's the safest thing to do. Mom and dad think they're doing just fine at home. Meanwhile, they may have been to the hospital a few times, maybe had a few falls, and it's a tough process. So you have to cater to not only the residents, that your future residents, but also the adult children and all of the decision makers. I've met with a lot of families, and there are maybe 8 adult children, and they're all decision makers, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And one's a lawyer, the other's a doctor, and they just can't agree. And you're stuck with, their parents in the middle, like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Someone's making a decision about me, and I'm not even involved in the process.
Right.
So I wear a lot of hats, when I'm sitting there with families to learn about them and the process of what brought them into our doors. And we have to always remember, and I used to coach other sales directors, we're not just talking about their loved ones or their mom or their dad. We have to include them in the conversation.
Right.
And not forget that they're adults and they have autonomy. And it's important that we make sure that we include everyone. It's the whole family, meeting to happen about this.
Right. Because you're exactly right. They're sitting there thinking, I'm sitting here not saying anything, and my 8 children are making these decisions. And when you have the 8 children, I would say, again, never have I had all 8 children on the same page. You'll have 3 in denial, 2 want to be in charge, and the others don't give a hoot what's going on. They don't even want to be there. They all hate each other. So it's so hard when you get them in the room. The ones in denial, I think, are the hardest ones, because if there is a situation where it's very clear that their mom, dad, or both really need to go into memory care, that the kids are in complete denial, and how you can really bring that to the forefront, with whether it's they need to get rid of their car or go into assisted living, or it's such a huge decision, because they see their mom and dad, they hear what's coming out of their mom and dad's mouth is that, but they're not acting the same anymore. So now they have to get past that.
And that's hard. That is so hard. But so let's take it a step further, is that's the adult child, but think about the spouse who is a caregiver, or the husband or the wife, depending on who it is, and they're in denial about, oh my gosh, I met the family last week, and the husband's in a wheelchair. The wife, she needs to be in memory care community, no doubt, but the husband is saying, who is a physician, right? Doctors are not the best patients sometimes. Who think that he knows it all, I know how to care for her, and he needs care himself. He says, I promised her I'd never do this, and I can't do this. I would never put her to nursing home, and she's fine at home.
Yeah.
And, the children are saying, no.
Right.
No, it's not. So then there's that aspect of, yes, you have the adult child in denial, but the spouse, now you have spouses looking for the other spouse, and that's hard too.
Right. Because it's so emotional. And I think you brought up a good point, because I hear this a lot too at my support groups, or whether it's a spouse or a child saying, I promised him I would never do that. I promised him I would keep them at home. I promised them. And how I turn that around is I say, regardless of the words that you used, you promised them they were going to get the best care and be the safest for them. So whether or not you said, I'm not going to do this, or that, or A, B, and C, your words meant, I'm going to keep you the safest as possible. It just doesn't matter how you said it. So don't feel that you're going back on a promise when you've realized that going into independent, assisted, or memory care is the best way to care for that person.
It's the best thing. I think they need to realize, and they often do. And you know what makes me really sad is sometimes some folks, the families or the spouses are so in denial. We have to wait for what we call in this industry a crisis moment for
Yes,
something to happen, which may be a fall. It could be a stroke, God forbid it, but it
I
does
know.
happen. By that time, because we waited so long, they don't even qualify
I know.
to live here.
Uh-huh.
So the very thing I think our families try to prevent by not moving into a senior living community, you've actually fast tracked them going right into a nursing home
I know.
because then they won't be able to enjoy it here. So I told this gentleman, he says, I told my wife I'd never put a nursing home. I said, well, fantastic. We're not a nursing home.
Right.
We're independent living, assisted living and memory care, so you can still keep your promise.
Yes, it's a beautiful
And
resort.
and yes. And something happened over the weekend, and I got a call.
Oh,
I'm ready. I can't. He says, I just can't do this. So
oh,
that was that crisis moment that we talk about, and that 911. I need to do this now. I just can't.
yeah, yeah. And sadly, that really is the case. I think so many of us are, we feel, regardless of our age, that we're invincible. And even for these sweet, darling husbands that turn 90 years old and still feel invincible, and they're going to care for their wife, and they're going to be the be all and end all, they don't want to think that I have to plan for the future. When I worked with Solkoff Legal and Elder Law, I can't tell you how many people walked in the door with mom pretty much out of it, dad's kind of out of it, and they've never put together a power of attorney or a healthcare surrogate.
Yeah.
And now the family
Yeah.
wants to sit down and make decisions for them, and we can't. We can't. Again, they wait until this emergency hits the wall. I just had that the other day. I had somebody call me into another building in memory care, and it was the wife that wanted me to notarize a form that allowed the husband to say that their kids can take his life insurance and split it up three ways. He didn't know his name. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know where he was. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And the wife was so upset. And it's those moments where I just like, I like making people happy and putting things together, but when you can't, you can't.
Right. Right.
And sadly, they didn't
Yeah.
plan for the
Yeah.
future.
Yes. And so all of the things that we just talked about are all the things that I kind of mentioned and I meet with families is why are you here? Did you prepare for this financially? Who are the decision makers involved in this process? So all and there's so many different steps as well. Just because they walk into our building may not mean they're moving in today, although we would absolutely love that. But it's more of a nurturing process. Like I said, it's a journey. And we have to walk them through from that the first time they walk into the community and continue to nurture that relationship until they actually choose the community to move into.
Well, it's like a blind date because really what you're doing is
Mhm.
it's a very intimate, emotional decision. They better be
Yeah.
wowed when they walk in the front door because you know they're looking for things of why they shouldn't be moving in there. So they have to be wowed through the entire process, which that's something that you really do, whether it's meals that you get together for people that are considering, or you have a nice
Yes.
little dinner. What are some of those things that you do for new residents thinking of moving in and then right after they move in? I love this.
So one of the things that we do a little bit differently, and we need to do more of actually, before someone moves into the community. Remember, you made a very good point. It's like dating and a
It's a
relationship.
blind date. Yeah.
It's a blind date. So
Mhm.
once they come into our doors and we have that relationship, okay, we've done step one, we've done discovery, we've toured the community. But families are looking at a lot of other communities. And let's be honest. I mean, if you're in South Florida, there are a ton of them everywhere. We all offer a lot of the same things, but it's the
Mhm.
caliber of service, the feel,
Right.
the culture, the services, amenities, the type of community that you want to look for that kind of makes us all a little bit different. But I love, before folks move into our community, I love doing home visits and for many reasons. And I look forward to doing this more often. But home visits are when we want to establish a relationship with a family or a prospect. And let's say they've toured the community already, but the home visit is where we get to go and tour them. We get to go in the comfort of their own homes and we get to spend time with them, completely informal.
Wow.
And I've done this with families before. If they're not, let's say the adult children came in to tour the community, but mom and dad are saying, I am not stepping foot in there because you're going to leave me in there and it's a jail and I'm just not
Right,
going.
right.
So I will tell them, I say, okay, what if I bring the tour to them? I'll go into their home, spend time with them, learn about where their thought process
What a
really
great
is. And
idea.
I love doing those and I don't do them enough. And I'm gonna, it's something that every company I've worked in, it's such a big thing. Every community I've worked with, they want their sales directors to do more and more of this. But you're not bringing them into the community where they feel like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here
Hmm.
and I don't want to be here. But you can kind of create a safe place for them, which is their home, and you bring the tour to them. And I am just in there, I'm looking at all of these amazing pictures from when they got married. I'm learning about them.
Aw,
I'm building that relationship. I am dating them. And
yes.
hopefully we'll get to the point to where we have that relationship to where they will come into the community. So again, the adult child is on a journey, mom and dad are on a different journey, and we have to figure out, okay, so how do we make these things work for the
Right.
both of them? And to make sure that we're not missing the big picture. We're not making decisions around the loved ones, but they're actually involved and they still have some autonomy. So I love doing home visits. And I think it's really, really important to continue to do those just as a
Oh,
community here at the
yeah.
Carlisle, even
I'm
elsewhere.
not,
Yeah.
I've never heard of anybody that does that. And maybe others do, and I just didn't know that. But what a great
Yeah.
idea to do that. And like I said before, yes, there are buildings popping up all over the place. They're everywhere. There's new buildings everywhere. Some are
Everywhere.
absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. They have this, that, and the other thing, but it's not the building, it's not the vessel. It's not the vessel, it's who's in
No,
that vessel
that
and how they
is
make you
that
feel.
is not what that is not what takes care of your loved one. And
Right.
I have seen so many new builds. I mean, you've seen it, all the new builds popping up around us. And honestly, I would, if it were my loved one, I would that's not the route I would go in because they're trying to figure it out. You know,
Right.
they haven't figured it out just yet. They're just opening their doors. Give it some time. And if you want to do the right thing, and part of the things I always encourage families to do is I encourage you to research other communities.
Right.
I want you to compare apples to apples, but just make sure they're apples to apples. So there's a lot of communities out there that I would not consider the Carlisle to be, comparable
Of
to, but
course.
there are
Right.
some that are. So it's really important that again we involve everyone in the whole process, but I encourage families to also do research and look at multiple communities.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think you're right too. On brands making new communities, they're still working out all the bugs. And it may be a wonderful community, but
Yes.
they're still working the bugs out. Where the Carlisle's been around for how long?
25 years, and we've got staff members that have been with us, and it's not just any staff member. These are the people that are caring for our residents, our frontline staff, our care associates. Some have been here 17 years, 18 years, and I don't know if I can work
Wow.
at one place that long, but I think about if I want someone taking care of my loved one, I want tenure and I want that culture and feel of the community to be phenomenal and amazing.
Right.
So I always say we're established. We've been here a long time. We've got amazing care associates and team
You do.
members here. It's all in the tenure. So one of the things I told families is make sure you're asking about the tenure as well of the frontline staff and the folks that will be caring for your loved one, because that will tell you a lot about the building and the stability of the community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just think it's phenomenal. I've met so many of you in the building because we're in the building. So I get to see all of you on a regular basis. And I have fallen in love with
Yeah.
all of you because of the care and compassion and attention that you give. You can tell when
Yeah.
somebody has a position for a paycheck. They're working for a paycheck. You
Yes.
can tell when someone's in that position or is the director of that department because they really love what they're doing. And that is so important. And if you want your mom and dad to be in good hands, or you want your spouse to be in good hands, you want to find a building that they all really love to be there and they've got the compassion that they need to get it all together. So if
Absolutely.
somebody wanted to virtually tour your building, where would they need to go to do that?
You would just call me, and which is another amazing thing we offer aside from the home visit program, is that we do offer virtual tours, and we can do it through Zoom or Teams, just like we're doing right now, or through FaceTime. We do our best to accommodate our families. We know they're out there, they're working, the adult children are out there, they're busy, they're working. So it's like a kind of we come to you service, and we can kind of work around everyone's schedule to make sure that we can kind of meet them halfway. So, I mean, if they've reached out and have done the really hard part and saying, hey, I need help, it is our job then to respond in a way that works for everyone.
Okay. So what number would you want them to call?
So you could reach me directly at 954-444-3832. And that is my personal contact number. I sleep with my phone. It drives my husband insane, but I do. But you can reach out to me directly and we can make sure that we can schedule a virtual visit or a home visit to kind of help you along the process in your journey.
Good. And say that number one more time, real slow.
Sure. 954-444-3832.
Awesome. And what is the big event that's going to be going on this week?
We are having our 25th anniversary
Woo!
here at the Carlisle on November 14th, 4:30 to 6:30. And it is it's going to be amazing. We're expecting about 300 people. And what's also going to be really cool is that the Lantana mayor will be here, the city council members will be here, and they're going to make a proclamation that the 14th of November is Carlisle Day.
Aw,
So we're really excited about that.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Anything else you have that you do right now that you could share with us above and beyond what you're doing now that you can help the community with, or we'll keep it to what we're
Sure.
doing?
Yeah. One of the things I love to talk about is our seasonal stay programs and our short-term respite stay
Oh,
programs. So
good.
because we are such an amazing location in South Florida and literally our community is a block from the beach, we do offer seasonal stays. So we have folks coming from Canada, California, all over the place that will stay with us for about 3, 4, 5 months for the season.
That's
So we
great.
love promoting that, and we do get booked depending on how many units we have available for seasonal stays, but it is an amazing program. And we have a respite program as well. And this is amazing for if you are the caregiver, if you are the spouse caring for someone else, you may need a respite yourself. So a respite program is kind of where you can have your loved ones stay with us and you get a break. You get some time to yourself. So I get adult children that will call and say, hey, I'm going to Italy. I'm going on a cruise. Can we, set up some time for my loved one to stay with you until I
Wow.
get back? And one of the great things about doing something like that, it's kind of a try before you buy thing.
Right.
So, until you're really ready to rip off the Band-Aid, it might be a good thing and a good way to kind of ease into the community as
Right.
well to help your loved one get a little more used to the setting.
Yeah, it's like the appetizer. Let them taste a little bit of it and see
Yes.
what it's like. It's the appetizer. But what a great thing that you
Yes.
offer that. I think that's wonderful. And
Yes.
everybody needs respite and a lot panic
Yes.
because they do want to be able to get away and they don't know what to do. So what a great way to get them into the
Right.
building and get them to already love what they're doing.
Absolutely. And I just urge caregivers to really think about it. Please take care of yourselves as much as possible. It's not easy, whether you're, mother of a toddler, or if you're caring for your spouse, or you're the adult child caring for your parents. It is very vital that you take care of yourself. So I am very passionate about caring for the caregivers because without you, it just wouldn't all be possible. So take care of yourselves if you are the caregiver. It's not an easy job.
It's not an easy job. And I have to say it encompasses emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. It encompasses every part of your body. So that's what we love this program for, because it does offer tools and strategies to those out there that really don't know what's available. Or if it is children that are living up north and their parents are down here in South Florida, now they have resources. They know where they can go with things. So thank you for being on the show, Dannie. I was excited to have you on, and I'm glad this worked. And I know you got a lot going on all the time, but you're good at what you do. So we love you. This is great. And thank you for all your points. And if you have any questions for Dannie, or there's something else that you would like to know about the Carlisle, be happy. You can leave a message on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And I can get you in touch with Dannie for anything that you may need. But thank you. And everybody have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching our show. We hope that you found an answer to a question or a resource that can assist you. Our goal is to keep all of you that are caregivers informed, refreshed, and heard. We're here for you. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions. We have all the resources that you'll need. Please follow us on our Facebook and Instagram pages for the up-and-coming shows and events and support groups. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support.